Oh, folks. You know, I'm getting to this point where I'm starting to think that Manitowoc County and Calumet County have figured out just how fucked they really are. And now they're just all scrambling for cover while simultaneously pointing the finger at everybody else. It's hilarious. But as I'm sure all of you know, or if you don't, I'll leave links down below in the description so you can check out the newest documents that were just released. Oh my God. I love it. I love that Jodi's little bullshit story of Stephen Avery dragging her out to a truck and basically kidnapping her after beating the shit out of her has been not only disproven, but recorded as false by the police department. It's fucking great. Let's walk through this. You guys are going to love this shit. Okay. So, September 4th of 2004, Deputy Cummings was responding to Two Rivers for a 911 hang-up. And according to dispatch, they received a 911 call from a female subject stating she would call back. Upon callback, the female subject reportedly just provided her address and the line was disconnected. Are you fucking kidding me, Jodi? You fucking juvenile little bitch. As I was responding, Chief Gilbert advised that he was parked at the end of Avery Road and South 147 awaiting my arrival. Seriously, Chief Gilbert? Are you fucking kidding me? There's a possible domestic in progress and your ass is waiting down the fucking road for backup when the woman could be being beaten the shit out of, she could be dying, and your ass is gonna wait down the road to protect and serve, huh, folks? You fucking dumbass. A short time later, Chief Gilbert advised that a vehicle was leaving Avery Road and was traveling down on 147. They follow along for a little bit and finally they pull a traffic stop. He says, when I arrived at the traffic stop, I observed Gilbert speaking with a female subject who was later identified as being Jodi Stachowski. When I asked Stachowski about what was going on, she looked back at the vehicle and stated she could not tell me right now. Fuck you, Jodi. You're in like the best possible situation for fuck's sake. If you're from the Mishicot, Manitowoc area, you know that the Averys are not exactly friendly with the fucking local PD. So for you to try and tell everybody that you were being so abused and you didn't report it, me, fuck you. The fact is that was probably the safest place that you possibly could have been at that point. Because here's the thing. Everybody knows that the fucking PD wanted to get the Averys, and especially Stephen Avery. So why would you not tell them if there was any fucking validity? You stupid cunt. I walked up to the vehicle and made contact with the operator, Stephen Avery. I asked him what was going on. Avery stated that he and Stachowski entered into a verbal argument this evening while at their residence. I requested Avery to exit his vehicle so that we could speak about this issue in more detail. Avery complied with this request. Yeah, he sounds like a real fucking hardened criminal there, folks. Please. When I asked Avery if there were any physical acts taken by either party during the reported argument, he stated he pushed Stachowski in order to have her sit down. Now, here's something that you notice repeatedly with Stephen Avery. He always owns up to his fuck-ups. He will always tell the truth on that. If he did it, he owns it, he makes restitution for it, and he's done. So, he admitted to pushing Jodi. Which, you know, quite frankly, if fucking Manitowoc County and Mishicot PD really wanted to fucking have a bug crawl up their ass, they could have very easily turned that into a domestic. They very easily could have turned that into an assault and battery. But they didn't. They didn't even touch that with a 10-foot pole, really. Chief Gilbert advised me over the radio that I should take Avery into custody. I advised Avery of this. He was placed into restraints without incident. Yeah, he sounds like a real Real hardened criminal, real bastard there, guys. Fuck you. Now, after Avery was secured, he went up and he started talking to Jodi again. He says, according to Stachowski, she arrived home at approximately 23:10 hours after attending the races. Stachowski, this is where you really get a good idea of how fucking crazy Jodi is. Stachowski felt that Avery had already been in the house because she did not see him enter. She also felt that Avery was hiding somewhere. Are you fucking shitting me, Jodi? I bet you have a lovely tinfoil hat collection. Chanel should take some tips from you. Then Jodi starts going into what according to her happened during this fucking bullshit fight. At one point in the argument, Stachowski stated she advised Avery to pack his shit up and get out. At this point, Stachowski stated Avery pushed her in the chest area, causing her to fall into a chair and hit her head. Maybe he was just trying to kickstart it. Stachowski stated Avery entered on top of her and began hitting her, at which time she curled up into a ball. During this reported hitting, Stachowski stated Avery advised her that he was going to kill her. Stachowski stated that she eventually stood up and called 911. Yeah, because it's going to be real easy to push a fucking 250-pound man who's beating the shit out of me and just simply stand up and call 911. That's how it goes, right? Fuck you. Before Stachowski could tell dispatch what was going on, she stated Avery ripped the phone out of the wall. Bullshit. If the phone was ripped out of the wall, how did the answering machine pick up, you stupid, simple bitch? Stachowski stated Avery then began choking her to the point where she lost consciousness. When she awoke, Stachowski stated Avery was dragging her to his vehicle. Stachowski stated they left the residence and were eventually stopped by an officer. This is where it gets good, though, kids. I mean, all this bullshit is just the setup. Here's the punchline. It should be noted that there were no physical evidence. There was no physical evidence to support Stachowski's claim that she was physically assaulted by Avery. There were no marks around her neck which would have supported the choking claim. There also was no type of redness or markings where Stachowski claimed she was struck by Avery. Stachowski showed these areas to myself and Chief Gilbert. However, nothing was observed. Stachowski also was not willing to complete any type of paperwork associated with the DV incident. It should be noted that Stachowski did admit that she had been consuming alcohol this evening. A distinct odor of intoxicants was detected on her breath. You fucking lying twat. Here's the thing, kids. Here's what you have to understand. Stachowski is a Polish name. Poles tend to be extremely white. I speak from expertise. The thing is that you literally cannot touch me with any kind of force behind it. Anything more forceful than a light stroking of my skin and red marks will show up. I wish I could show you on this shitty camera, but I can't. In order to choke someone to the point of rendering them unconscious, you have to wrap, I wish I could do this properly, wrap your hands around their throat. The thumbs will press against the windpipe, and the heel of the ball of the hand will press against the carotid artery, which is usually what causes you to lose consciousness. But you have to place a substantial amount of pressure on that artery in order to cause your victim to lose consciousness. And here's the thing with that, kids. When you are as white as a fucking Pollock, there would have been red marks. There would have been so many red marks on her fucking, on her neck alone. That alone would have borne out her story. But the fact is that not a single mark of violence was found on that woman at that time. So I'm sorry, but any subsequent claims of hers that Stephen Avery was beating the shit out of her on a regular and she ate 2 boxes of rat poison to get away from him all is bullshit. It's complete and utter bullshit. And it is borne out by this fucking testimony, the fact that she lied to the cops. And trust me, kids, if I've said it before, I've said it a million other fucking times. The fact is that the Averys were targeted by the police. If there had been any validity whatsoever to Jodi Stachowski's claims of domestic violence or abuse, they would have been only too happy to haul Stephen Avery's ass in for that. They wanted to nail his ass to the wall, but there was no evidence. And there's no way that they could plant evidence on that bitch without them, they themselves beating the crap out of her, which I really wish they would have. Because maybe a good beating is what she needs. I'm just saying. Apparently her mama didn't do it. So somebody needs to knock some sense into her. I'll volunteer. So, with that in mind, I would love to present to you. Oh, and by the way, yes, Stephen Avery was arrested, but what he was booked on was not a domestic violence charge. It was a drunken disorderly, kids. Drunken disorderly. That's it. Operating a motor vehicle under the influence of alcohol. That's it. So, kiss my ass if you want to sit there and try to say that Stephen Avery is a fucking abuser. If Mishicot PD didn't pick him up for domestic violence, you can best bet your ass that there is no domestic violence in his history. Suck it. Okay, now we're going with the disorderly conduct. This is fucking wiggy as shit, guys. It is so weird. Okay, so on... Oh, duh. Right here at the top. It's been a long day, kids. It's the last week before the end of school, and on top of that, we're getting everything ready for our move, and we've got just a ton of shit going on. You know, my daughter's field trip was earlier in the week. It was on Monday, and our middle son is graduating 8th grade tomorrow, so we've got all that shit to take care of. And then my best friend, I hosted her graduation party on Sunday, so we've been like going great guns. And then on top of that, as if that wasn't enough, I had finals. And so it's been crazy around here. So I apologize for the delay between videos, but you can best bet your ass that that's going to end now. So let's get started. On June 15th of 2005, so this was in June of 2005, July, August, September, October, so about 4 months before the murder. 4.5 months before Teresa Halbach's murder. Deputy Hornick, was advised by dispatch that Charles and Vivian Herman's son, David Herman, called to report a problem with their neighbor, Richard Roll, and a party who was at Richard's house, Stephen Avery. Upon arrival, we spoke with Richard and Stephen. I spoke with Richard while Deputy Rob spoke with Stephen. Funny. They'll conduct a separate interview, which, by the way, is a cognitive interview technique used by police. They conducted separate interviews for just a report of disorderly conduct, where nothing was even proven that anything had happened or anything was wrong. They used the cognitive interview technique here, but when investigating Teresa Halbach's disappearance, they interviewed Ryan Hilligoss and Scott Blodern together. Huh? The fuck? Richard stated he made no threats to his neighbors and he did not understand what I was talking about. I advised Richard that we received a call that the Hermans were concerned that he threatened to harm or kill them. He advised again that he knew nothing. Richard stated he spoke to the Hermans several hours ago over the telephone, but he did not have any problems with them and he gets along well with them. Okay, so apparently, now I'm not 100% sure if these guys are related to Sheriff Herman or not. I'm willing to bet that they are. But what the fuck? Point number one. In speaking with Deputy Rob, he advised that Stephen stated he only arrived at the Roll residence a few minutes ago, and they were discussing Roll's upcoming court case as he is assisting him with that case. Okay, so he was only there for a few minutes prior to the arrival of the police. So what the fuck were the Hermans calling about? You'll find out in a second. He then went and spoke with Charles Herman by phone. Charles informed him that he received a phone call from Richard. He advised that he does get along with Richard for the most part. However, he has been acting stranger and stranger lately, especially when he is drinking. Charles stated Richard was talking to him about his .44 Magnum, which he sold. He did indicate that at one point Richard made comments about being ex-military and that he could part Charles's hair at 500 yards with an M16. Well, obviously, Charles, you've never been in the fucking military. You don't know how they talk. When they say you, I can part your hair at 500 yards, they're not talking about you, dumbass. They're talking about you as in a general you. You fucking schmuck. You're a poor little titty baby, aren't you, Charles? I bet your mama hugged you too much. He then made a comment to the fact that he could shoot him anytime that he wanted to. I call bullshit. Charles then made the comment that he had better shoot better than what he did the last time, referencing Richard's suicide attempt. Who the fuck does that? Who in the fuck makes some kind of a wisecrack like that to their friend, to their neighbor, even to just a fucking stranger that has tried to attempt suicide before? Who the fuck says something? Oh my God. There's something wrong with you Hermans. Seriously. Of course, that's a German name. Nazi. Nazi! I bet you're related to Heinrich Himmler. Yes, I bet. Of course. Charles stated that Richard did not find this humorous. You fucking think? You boorish oaf? What the fuck is wrong with you? Why would you say that to anybody? You can tell that you never served in the fucking military, Charles, because had you served in the military, you would have a little something called honor and integrity and love for your brother, you piece of shit. Richard mentioned Stephen Avery. Charles advised that Richard is becoming more and more paranoid and he feels that everyone is out to get him. He made comments about how law enforcement and the court system are corrupt and are out to get him. He advised that they screwed over Stephen Avery also. Get this shit, kids. Charles advised that Stephen did not have a clear history and he is not completely innocent with that matter. Really, Charles? Because DNA evidence says otherwise, you fucking country bumpkin. DNA evidence cleared Stephen Avery, and you still want to say that he is not completely innocent in that matter? Oh my God. I want to go to Manitowoc and just smack all the fucking morons. Seriously, that's all I want to do. Richard did not appreciate this and stated he would tell Stephen what was said. A short time later, Richard called back and spoke with Charles. He advised him that he told Stephen what he said about him and that Stephen said he was going to come over and kick Charles's ass. I'm sorry, but, you know, if Stephen had only just arrived, the timeline doesn't add up. To me, that sounds like Charles is looking to try and get Stephen into trouble because he's feeling a little fear from a guilty conscience. Huh, there, Chucky? You fucking... Later, Deputy Hornick stated that upon arrival, we listened to a message on the answering machine. The message was not offensive or obscene in any way. It was Richard indicating that he only called to ask him about the .44 which he sold. No other comments were made. In speaking with the Hermans, I advised them that it would be in their best interest to not speak with Richard in any capacity in the future. So even this deputy seems to know that this is just nothing but complete bullshit. And yet, it seems to me that the Hermans, who, now that I think about it, it would make sense if this was Sheriff Herman's brother. It seems like the Hermans are trying to set them up. That's what it sounds like to me, kids. Now, I have got some awesome shit getting ready to come out for you guys tomorrow regarding Mr. O'Kelly and his infamous blue ribbon. So I've got some more research to do on that. I've got another final coming up, so I've got to finish studying for that as well. So don't forget to follow me here on YouTube. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, Mama Phoenix 6. And you can also find me on Facebook at Casey Martinez, aka Mama Phoenix. Thank you all very much for watching. We'll see you soon.